Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring the Heroes and Hardships core rulebook. This is the early access version. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this universal RPG system, please check out the playlist in the description below. You will also find links to the Kickstarter that is ongoing and it is currently in its stretch goals. You will also find links to the website, to the Tetsubo section of the website. Tetsubo is an upcoming setting inspired by Japan's Sengoku era. You're also going to find links to my reviews of the Quick Start Guide, the Wallace campaign setting based on the life and exploits of William Wallace, and the Discord as well. Please check it out. Now let's continue. This time we are going to talk about vehicles. Vehicles can be used in ways that are similar to characters. They have attributes, characteristics, abilities, but never skills. Vehicles can be used in combat alongside characters, but may also be used in vehicle-only conflicts. Creating vehicles is similar to creating characters. You need to follow a few steps. First, you assign vehicle attribute points. This concerns size, speed, frame, handling. In this step, you receive a pool of attribute points that you need to allocate amongst these attributes. This, of course, is also related to the power level of the game that you want to play. Next, you calculate the vehicle characteristics, such as vehicle base defense, vehicle break level. This is how much damage a vehicle can receive at one time before taking a break. There is also vehicle destruction threshold. This is how much damage is required for an instant destruction roll. There is also vehicle break threshold. This is how many breaks a vehicle can sustain before making destruction rolls. And you have loadout. This is a vehicle's score equal to how many total stations a vehicle can support. Next, you choose stations. A vehicle must have at least one controls station. After controls, any other combination of stations may be chosen. There are several types of stations vehicles may have. They are cargo or passenger, controls, empty, systems, and weapons. Next, you choose the vehicle abilities or mode of movement. And you choose vehicle abilities, such as AI. An artificial intelligence operates the station in question. There is also centralized operation. The pilot in the controls station of this vehicle may operate both weapons and systems from the controls station. There is also denial system. Grapple attempts against this vehicle suffer one hardship, regardless of whether the target is disabled or not. You also have hacking probe, which allows this vehicle to make wireless hacking attempts against another vehicle. And these are just a few of the many vehicle abilities. There is even a self-destruct ability, shields ability, and such. It's important to note that some of these vehicle abilities represent pieces that fit into the different stations of the vehicle. So for example, the dorsal or ventral mount is an ability that mounts two weapons onto one station. So you feel as if you are filling those gaps, those holes within the vehicle, or rather perhaps you could say assembling the different parts of the vehicle. Now let's talk about vehicle combat. Vehicles are not so different from characters in combat or out of combat. Vehicles operate in combat as if a piece of equipment operated by characters. However, vehicles tend to take the place of characters in certain physical actions, such as moving, attacking, taking damage, etc. So it's pretty logical. For example, when you need to make a skill check, it is going to be the character on board the vehicle that is going to be performing those skill checks. Unless there is something related to the AI, of course. That is the computerized AI of the vehicle. When it comes to breaks, they are equivalent to wounds for a character. A vehicle that suffers a break confers a break hardship to skill checks made by characters in relation to the vehicle. This stacks with any other hardship required, such as wound hardships. When it comes to the initiative and the combat track, vehicles do not have initiative and do not exist on the combat track. Only characters do. Characters act on their turn on the combat track, just as they normally do. The vehicle is considered to be a special piece of equipment the character uses. Vehicles have 4 hit locations: cockpit, weapons, chassis, and systems. When it comes to vehicle attacks and defenses, Attacks and defenses occur just like regular combat. Melee attacks are opposed by a defensive action, and ranged attacks are opposed by ranged dice and base defense. Concerning vehicle damage, vehicles take breaks instead of wounds, as explained earlier. Each break damages the vehicle and causes it to suffer one break hardship. These breaks should be notated by their levels of success until they are repaired with a craft skill check. When it comes to destruction rolls, a vehicle can be destroyed by suffering breaks greater than the vehicle's vehicle break threshold, or being hit above its vehicle destruction threshold. The character in the system's station must make a science skill check plus the vehicle's break level against the total success value of the attack. There is even an optional more lethal destruction rolls rule to make your game even more lethal, grittier. Now, when it comes to characters caught in a destroyed vehicle, they suffer personal damage. The character suffers a rank 5 hazard with an aspect that matches the attack. The player may choose either dodge, athletics, or acrobatics for the resistance of the hazard. Not unlike in personal combat, when a character suffers a wound, a character on board must make a disable roll. A character that has access to the system's station must make a sciences skill check against the levels of success of the attack. Include any break hardships and other penalty die in the difficulty of the skill check. If the character fails, the vehicle becomes disabled for 5 action points multiplied by the vehicle's number of breaks. This is the equivalent of a falter roll. Now, considering vehicle break effects and repairs, breaks are similar to a character's wounds. After combat, when suffering a break, the vehicle suffers the effects of the break until it is repaired. Breaks lower the attributes of the vehicle, and break hardships are removed. Now, concerning break severity, the first step in assigning break effects is to determine the severity level of each break. The severity level of a break is based on the vehicle break level and the total success value of the break. There are 3 severity levels: superficial, moderate, and terrible. Breaks may damage a vehicle unless it is repaired. When break effects are rolled, the break effect is applied immediately. These break effects are tracked along with the break that caused it until the break effects have been fixed. As mentioned before, break effects often lower attributes and penalize a vehicle. However, attributes cannot normally drop below a score of 1. If any vehicle's attribute is lowered to 0, they are considered disabled. This occurs after rolling on the break effect table after combat. If an attribute would be lowered below 0, reset that attribute to 0. No attribute can ever go below 0 for any reason. A vehicle can be repaired an endless number of times, but repairs take time. Repair rolls are any skill checks that would repair a break effect. One repair roll may be performed on a vehicle each repair period. Repair periods are determined by the Game Master, but there are some suggestions included in this rulebook. Now, when it comes to manning stations, characters aboard vehicles must man a station. Typically, characters on board can control a single station. Each station has a number assigned to it, signifying how many different stations of that type exist. There are certain circumstances where a station could have a score of 0. A station can have a number of characters controlling it equal to its score. If there are more characters attempting to board a vehicle than there are stations, and the vehicle does not have the cargo or passenger station, then they cannot board the vehicle. Certain actions will be available to characters based on the station they are controlling. Concerning vehicle combat actions, vehicle combat actions work alongside personal combat in all ways except those described before. Concerning vehicle combat actions, they work alongside personal combat in almost all ways, with a few exceptions. However, if a character is in a vehicle and wants to interact with that vehicle, use actions with the vehicle type. Offensive actions occur on the character's turn, while defensive actions are reactionary. Actions move characters up the combat track based on the action points cost of the action. There are several different action types. These action types help break down the function of combat actions even further for ease of reference. Some action types are used in both offensive and defensive actions. Each action specifies what station is required for the action. When it comes to action types, some of them can be completed at any station, but others need to be completed at the controls section or station, the system station, the weapons station, and such. Now let's talk about some of these vehicle offensive actions and defensive actions. You have communications. Send communications to any other vehicle in close proximity as determined by the game master. You have defensive maneuvers. Sometimes you are outgunned or want to play defensive in a dogfight. By employing these maneuvers, you obtain benefits. There is also detect. Detecting a hidden enemy presence can be accomplished by making a perception skill check against the opposing character's drive skill check. You also have grapple. A vehicle may come alongside another adjacent vehicle and attempt to attach to it, or to detach from it. This of course uses any vehicle weapon with the grapple quality. There is also evade. A pilot may attempt to evade an attack made on their vehicle. We also have strafe, or strafe. I've been playing first-person shooters for a long time and I don't remember how you pronounce it. I think it's strafe. A defender may attempt to evade while at the same time moving up to one hex in any direction. Then you have vehicle weapon qualities. Of course, you're going to be equipping different stations with those weapons, so you have qualities such as guidance. A guidance system is included in this weapon that helps the payload strike true. There is also ion. Armor is bypassed with this weapon. There is also hack. This weapon can carry out long-range hacking attempts on other vehicles. You also have information on purchasing vehicles, the different types of modern vehicle weapons. Some of them are going to be long-ranged weapons, and some of them are quite destructive, such as missiles, rockets, but some of them are more utility-focused, such as grapplers or remote hacking weapons. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about magic. When it comes to vehicles, the construction process is quite easy to understand. You're going to have a lot of fun building these vehicles, determining the weapons, the stations. Some of the nuances in this vehicle construction system are a bit more freeform when compared to other vehicle building systems in other RPGs. So the game master and the players are going to be making some thematic decisions. Now when it comes to vehicles in action, I think it's a nice balance of crunchiness with fast flow. Combats proceed quite fast, while there is still a level of detail or realism within those conflicts. And there are many optional rules and variations, not to mention the power levels, to further modify the sort of combat that you want to carry out during your adventures. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.